technology and the genius to start from scratch and ask what makes our survival clock tick. Pretty soon they had a tractor and a machine that made bricks. Now they all in placing their bet.
Hello and welcome to another edition of FreeCAD for Dummies. For this edition we're going to do some very quick sketching, and while we're doing that, or before we do that, I'm going to show a few things that can make your life easier, that being what we try to do here on FreeCAD for Dummies anyway. First off, if you go to Edit Preferences, you will find that there's a bunch of useful stuff here that can help you. Like we're in Draft Workbench right now, so that's how come we have Draft Workbench showing up here. If you go into the Draft Workbench, one very useful thing, of course we can come back and explore some of the others later, but one very useful thing that you have here is the snapping tools, and by default it's not set this way, but I have set it this way too, because it works for me better this way. So I'll show you what problem I had. Now, because I use the touchpad navigation, where shift is what I use to pan and alt is what I use to rotate, so that gives me a problem when I try to draw and I try to press shift, which is the default for constraining my drawing, my line in a particular axis. So you can see now that when I press shift, it's conflicting with my navigation tool. It's trying to help me to pan. It's actually panning instead of helping me to constrain my line along a particular axis. So that's the problem. And the way I solve that, if I go out of that draw tool now, the way I solve that is by going to Preferences, that should be Edit, Preferences, and if you go to Draft, Snap Settings. So originally Constrain was on Shift, so I changed it to Control because Control does not disturb me that much. I left Snap Mode on Alt, which means I probably won't be able to snap and rotate at the same time, but I think I can survive without that. And I left the alt mode on shift. I think I can get by without that. But if I run into trouble with any of these two conflicting with any of these keys, I can come back here and change it to control or something. But for now, the main one we want is the constraint tool there. So what that does for me is that I am able to, I think I've messed up my axis. Anyway, we'll go on. Go ahead. What that does for me is that I am able to what that does for me is that I am able to draw my, I'll close that and start that again. I'm able to constrain my lines by pressing shift, and that's working nicely without, by pressing control, by pressing control, and that works nicely now without conflicting with my pan tool. So I press control again to constrain it up there, and I press control again to constrain it over here. You can see the keys I'm pressing here, just to keep up with what I'm doing. Okay, I'll back up one step. I'll start that line again. So I pick this tool here is the multi-point draft wire. So I want to do a multi-point draft wire so that I can keep drawing without having to click to start the line again. So every time I click, the shape continues as one. So control, click, I'm using the grid at the back as a guide. Control, click, control, click, control, click, control click, control click. Well, I guess you get the picture, right? So I don't just keep sounding like a drone. So there we are. And for the last one, you can rely on your snap to make sure that it closes. And there we have it. So it's changing it to a face immediately, because under preferences, again I'll show you, under preferences for the draft tool, it says fill objects with faces whenever possible. So I have that selected to make sure that once I draw something, if it's possible to make it a face, it will fill it immediately. I think that helps quite a bit. So I've got an F shape there. I'm going to do the next shape. I'm going to keep you guessing as to what I'm trying to write here. I didn't hit control there, so that baseline was not very straight, but we'll keep going anyway. Control click, control click, control click, control click, control click, and snap to the last point there. Are we getting it? Snap. Great. Next one. Click, control 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 click. Let me shut up for a minute. Okay, and for the next one, we're just going to create a clone, so we don't have to draw that all over again. Click on the clone, pick the move tool, and move it. So we don't have to draw that E all over again. And shift pan. Then let's finish this up now. Trying to get the right position for this next bit. Okay, there we are. I'll try to make this faster so it's not boring for you. There we go. Okay. You would have noticed I'm not aiming for a high level of precision here, since I'm just demoing the idea. You're free to be as precise as you want with your drawing. does look like I need to work a bit more on my snap tools there, because it's kind of conflicting right now. So what I'm trying to do now is to turn everything off and pick just one, and let's see if that helps me. Or is it the other way around? Okay, let's see if it's the other way around. Yes, it's the other way around. So that could be a bit confusing. That's something for FreeCAD developers to look into. I think they did already, because for version 0.17 it's easier to tell which one you've selected out of this snap tools than it is right now. But anyway, let's keep going. So for the D, this is what I want to do. Click there, control, click there, control, click there, control, click, no, not control for that one. Click there, click there. Okay, so there we have FreeCAD. Okay, and what next? What I want to do next is to okay, let me just try to tidy this up a little bit. Again, we're not aiming for that, so we're not aiming so much for precision, but at the same time, let's just try to help things along a little bit. I would like to edit this a bit. Okay, I messed up, I screwed that up, and for some reason I'm not even able to go back on that, so I'm going to have to delete that, because I just don't know why that went that way, and I'm going to have to redraw it. Okay, so this is the point where I need to remember that I don't have to go for precision on this, just so that we can move forward. This is just a demo, so I'm not going to try to adjust any lines again. I'm just going to just do the sketch and leave it the way it is. Okay, so bear with me if you think this could have looked a bit better. I know, I agree with you, but we're just trying to get the better of FreeCAD right now. On the brighter note, hopefully this A will look slightly better than the last one we had, just to cheer us up a bit. Okay, so there we are, and I actually don't like that D too much. I think I'll redraw the D. I'm sorry. I'll redraw the D. Sorry. OCD. Haha. Get it? OCD. Haha. There we are. So the next thing I want to do now is to work with text. So for the string, I'm going to enter 4 dummies. And for what I found out for the string is that you don't just close when you type in here like this. There's a typo there. You don't just close, you need to hit enter, which is what I've done. And so I think 1 millimeter is just fine, so I'll hit enter again. And for tracking, I'm actually not sure what tracking does, but I'll still hit enter again. And now it wants the font that I want to write with. I save the font somewhere here. There we are. Open. And there we have it. So that's the string, and let me move it in place. It's clearly too big for our needs, so I can go in to adjust the height. Where can I do that? Yeah, the size. So I'll try 0.5. No, I think that should be 0.5. That might be just fine, but let's move it in first and see if it works for us. Still a bit too big. So I'm going to drop that down to 0.35. That's a bit more like it. Okay, there we are, FreeCAD for Dummies. Now one more thing I'd like to do. So if I pick all these now and I convert to sketch, will that work? Come on. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. Okay, so it's giving me a sketch. I pick my sketch, I go to Part Design, Model, pick the sketch, and I say Add, and I zoom in on everything so we see what's going on there. Okay, there you have it. So you'll see that right now it's that deep, so I just make it 1. Is that good enough? Let's check again. Rotate. No, that's still too deep, so 0.5. Is that more like it? Maybe still a bit too deep. I can edit it here, by the way, so maybe 0.35. Should we leave it at that? Should we not? Okay, maybe we should, or 0.25. Yeah, I think that's fine. And for Dummies, what does tracking do, by the way? I have no idea what that does. I just leave it at 0. And I'd really like to be able to give that some depth as well. Let's see. Okay, this is what I'll do. I'll go back into draft mode and try to convert that to sketch separately on its own. Does that work? Yes, it seems to work. So I go back to Part Design and I pick that and I pad it. Okay, that's the problem then. What if I trying to think through this now? Okay, so if I take this, I do that, wait a bit, grab this, go over to Part Design, pick it, select it, add, okay, so it doesn't look like I can do that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else, anywhere else. Or let's get rid of this and recreate that by going to draft and redoing what we did the other time. Enter, that, open 0.35, enter. Move it into place. I think it should be 0.4 actually. It's more like it. The damn thing seems frozen. Okay. Okay, move it a bit into position. Right, we're fine. Great. And should we try for, I wanted to try for some color, but I think I'll just leave it like this. Yeah, I think I'll just leave it like this. And that's it. We have our FreeCAD for Dummies logo. Haha. Yeah, so I'm actually able to do that without converting it to a sketch, I guess, because the text string object is a different type of object. So that's a good thing actually, because I really wanted it to have a three-dimensional feel as well. So there we have it. We've got two pads, one for the FreeCAD text and another one for the For Dummies text. You see that for the FreeCAD text we use freehand sketching to get it done with the help of some constraining to get some straight lines as well. And for Dummies we use the actual text string, which you'll find under the draft tool, and you'll find it there, text string in shapes. So we use just this multi-point draft wire and text string in shapes. Remember that we went to edit preferences to set our constraints. 1 minute while it comes up. Yeah, edit preferences for the draft workbench to set our snapping constraints, and we use control for that so that it doesn't conflict with the navigation style, which is the touchpad navigation that uses shift for panning. So we moved it away from shift and moved it to control instead for the constraint. And once we are done with that, we use the convert bidirectionally between draft and sketch objects, also called the draft to sketch tool. We selected all the elements, the wires were drawn, and we use the draft to sketch tool to convert them to a sketch. And then picking on the sketch, which is what we see here, we went back to the part design workbench and with the sketch selected under pad design, we were able to pad, and then we just set the depth for the pad. And the same thing after drawing the shape string, just selecting the shape string and clicking on pad on the pad design, we're able to set a depth for it as well. And so with that, we're done. We've got our FreeCAD for Dummies logo. So thanks for watching, and look out for the next one. Bye.
Global village construction set 50 machines for a civilization, and every machine designed for simple